Food is one of the most intimate things that we are involved in. We literally take it into ourselves.
Food is sustenance and joy.
It's more than just sitting down and eating. There's an art to it. There is a pleasure to it.
Food for me is cultural nourishment.
Food means memories, and I think it's because it engages every single one of our senses.
Thinking about it from a chemical perspective, food is fuel.
So what we put in our bodies and how it was grown, how we got it, and how we then eat it, I think is a very personal and political act.
It fuels our thinking processes, the ability of our bodies to move.
Good food, and again, where it comes from, is so important for the entire environment that we live in.
It's also a chance for us to build community. I think food is a basic part of human life, and so it's something that we can really connect over and with.
The problem with the current American diet is really multifold. First of all, nutritionally, if you think about the food that we can buy off the street, is high in sugar, high in fat, high in salt. So inherently very tasty, but the calorie amounts that we're consuming are just simply too high. So we're all getting fat from that food and unhealthy.
We're also seeing a change in how we use food in this country. So we've gone away from cooking at home to really relying on convenience foods or things that are pre-packaged or pre-cooked for us. Well, do we have any understanding of where that's come from and how it's been prepared?
What is the traditional way of eating of Americans? Is it fast food? Is it convenience food?
What ingredients do you think are in Kraft macaroni and cheese, if you had to guess?
There's probably quite a lot that you shouldn't be eating.
Noodles, you gotta have milk, butter, water.
Sugar is probably the main ingredient.
Stuff you make cake with, you know.
I think like 10 ingredients.
Is all the ingredients right here?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Well, enriched macaroni product, ferrous sulfate, thiamine monotrate.
That's in Spanish.
Milk protein concentrate, contains citric acid, high acid, lactic acid.
Monosodium glutamate.
Calcium carbonate, cornstarch. Some of these I can't even pronounce.
Onion powder concentrate.
That's like a paragraph full.
So basically everything that's just processed in a factory kind of thing.
They are pretty terrible for you in general. Like there's kind of not a whole lot of redeeming qualities.
It's time for a revolution of food and eating at UCCS. It's time for Fooducation.
I'm Nana Meyer. I am an assistant professor at Bethel College of Nursing and Health Sciences, and I teach, do research, and provide service. Half of my time is spent at the United States Olympic Committee, where I work on a variety of different things, including winter sport nutrition. The typical problems with college students, freshman students particularly, is that there's a lot of food abundance. They have maybe a meal card. There's soda available everywhere at retail outlets. There's a lot of peer influence, alcohol. All of those factors come together, and they typically gain between 5 to 10 pounds.
I know I don't eat exactly quote-unquote healthy, but I do have moments where I'll eat a little bit of healthy food. My name's Gilbert Kuhn. I'm currently a junior at UCCS. I am a human biology major, so I have a very strange addiction to hot Cheetos. I've been better about them, but I usually eat about 2 bags a day. Usually when I'm stressed out, it's like my stress food, I'll eat a lot of those. But I feel the same amount of energy. Like I don't feel like different. I don't feel like I lose. Whenever I eat like a Taco Bell versus eating a salad for dinner, I usually don't feel like I have any difference in anything. I don't know, I just feel like it's all the same. So with being young and enjoying our youth, I feel like taking advantage of that option and being able to eat out or enjoy the foods you want until health problems occur, knock on wood, enjoy it while you can.
My name is Susan Spurka, and I am the Senior Associate Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance at UCCS. The food revolution is a change in how we look at food, from how we grow it, to how we consume it, to how we responsibly manage any waste so that it can recycle into food for another day. That's the food revolution.
Food on campus was disconnected from all of us before we started this.
I'm Russell Sonke, and I'm the Director of Food Service with Sodexo Campus Services here at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. When I first got here, we had a limited amount of coffee shops, restaurants. The existing facilities had not been renovated.
To me, the local food shift and this revolution that needs to happen on campus is to connect with the community and the local farmers to see what we can get on campus from the local community, what we can produce on campus, and then bringing forward the educational pieces to the students so they start to care.
How do we make vibrant changes that focus on healthy eating, fresh choices, and sustainable options across all eating options on campus?
The food revolution on campus has the most to do with being responsive to our customers, students, faculty, and staff.
It's also around creating an environment where students and faculty and staff and community members are joining together and really participating in a social process when they eat food.
We need to do something very, very quickly to deal with rising overweight and obesity rates. And so, as an educational institution, I feel strongly that that is part of our role here, to help people lead healthy, successful lives. And it can oftentimes start with conversations around food.
Do you mind if we show you a couple vegetables and see if you know what they are?
Brussels sprout.
Okay, what would you like to know about it?
What is it?
It's an artichoke.
No, sorry, not that. My apologies. Artichoke.
Squash?
Final answer?
It's a yam.
It's a yam. Good job, yeah.
Oh no, I know this.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
What's it look like?
An apple.
Pomegranate?
Yes.
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 This is beets.
These are beets.
I'm gonna go with radish.
Do you like beets?
No, not even close.
These are beets, and I hate them.
Those are onions.
Okay, what is this?
Is that rhubarb? No? Honest to God, I have no idea what this is.
There are so many obstacles to a food revolution. And it's hard to categorize one as more important than the other, but some are certainly foundational. One of those foundational challenges is just looking at the sheer number of people we need to provide food services for on this campus. And while we're a medium-sized campus, there are a lot of people who eat food on our campus.
Feed over 1,200 people at the lodge. We'll probably feed close to 1,800 people at the Cafe 65 and the other retail outlets.
The more people we have, the more daunting this task is. Can local farmers even produce it? In the winter, we know they can't produce it. We can only produce it with greenhouses and the different infrastructure, co-ops, those types of things.
Another demand is, how do we appropriately finance this food service and do it with a corporate partner and in a way that mirrors our campus belief system?
Sodexo is a facilities management company. It's a very large company. In North America, it's headquartered in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Globally, it's headquartered in Paris, France.
And obviously, cost and making it work with a food service provider that has, a certain established system is very, very tricky.
We offer facilities and food management services to universities, colleges, secondary institutions of education.
The contract predicts that you cannot bring certain small-scale farmers food in because of food safety laws, liability insurance, or even just bringing the food to campus. So there are a lot of barriers that prohibit the small-scale farmer to do this with us.
The challenge is really developing support amongst a student population who is financially strapped and really wants to look at price and quantity over quality right now.
Occasionally I'll eat here. I'm not very often though. That's kind of expensive.
I can pay as much as
$10 for just a meal.
The pricing seems fairly okay. And
I like the gourmet burger at Clyde's.
I really like this little sandwich counter. I always go there.
I usually do the Pick 5 salad every day with the ham or protein or something for it.
I like the coffee carts and getting a coffee and pastry before my 8 a.m. classes.
The buffalo chicken ranch sandwich at the cafe.
Did you realize that there was a food revolution going on campus?
No, I did not actually.
I didn't.
One of the other obstacles and challenges, and that is how do we effectively communicate, educate, and advocate for healthy food.
And I really don't think that students are actually that aware of their food choices when they first come to campus. I think that changes as they get to be part of the culture here, but I think they have an extraordinary demands on their time.
How do we educate students primarily as to the benefit of healthy food so that we can help that student to make a change in lifestyle?
I think we need to start integrating things into the curriculum, perhaps into freshman seminar more.
I hope that students start to get the education, the information that they need to realize the kinds of food they eat are really, really important.
So it's this connection between health and sustainability, or wellness and sustainability.
Not just the food itself, but how far it comes, the travel, the energy use, all those kinds of things that are involved in food.
So awareness is a huge part of it, and it just is something you just constantly have to keep working on because classes change every semester, and so it's something that you just have to constantly be vigilant about voicing and educating.
I'm a junk food junkie. I'm 50 years old. I never cooked a day of my life.
So what's a normal day like? Like, what do you eat during the day?
Oh, maybe a hamburger or tacos or mashed potatoes, meat.
Fast food? You eat fast food?
Every day.
So you don't drink any water during the day?
8 ounces a week.
8 ounces a week? 1 cup of water a week? So what do you drink during the day?
Juice and Coke. I actually seen it eat battery acid off a car.
But you'll still drink Coke?
But I'll still drink Coke, yeah. Never eaten a salad.
How about a bite of salad?
No. It's chunky water.
So what would it take to get you to change your eating habits?
I don't know. I had diverticulitis and that didn't work.
Probably the final obstacle that we face is how do we change habits?
Breaking habits, this is all about health behavior change. We have lots of expertise on campus.
Getting over that convenience factor.
So it's up to us professionals to understand the barriers to health behavior change and use the proper models of changing behaviors.
So how do I get something that is quick, easy, that I can eat on the go that is still healthy, that still is fresh, that still has a sustainable option related to it?
The barriers are daunting, but there are ways to creatively do it, and we have to collaborate.
But you have to have support at all levels. I think it's been very fortunate that I've had support from my bosses, the Chancellor, Pam Shockley-Zalabach, and Vice Chancellor Brian Burnett.
3 years ago, I was walking through the University Center and I looked over where we had a game room and a very small concession type stand. And I noticed there was almost never anyone in that space. So being a finance person, one of the first things I wanted to do is look at the profit and loss statement for that operation, and the P&L was pretty dismal. But it wasn't producing because it wasn't providing the students what they needed and wanted and desired.
My name is Tamara Moore. I'm the Executive Director of Auxiliary Services on campus. So in my role at UCCS, I work with marketing all the auxiliary service spaces. And I also chair the Food Service Committee. And between those two roles, we collected a lot of data on what people wanted to see in a space and what food options they wanted us to provide.
Clyde's was built to demonstrate several things. One, that we could build a space that students would embrace.
People wanted a space that felt much different than any other space on campus. It was more hidden and it was a refuge. They wanted a place where they could share, so they wanted shareable space with big booths and shareable food, big platters of different options.
Two, that we could do it in a manner that increased our food service sales, to provide us funding streams to do the next step in the food revolution.
Financially, the result's been extremely positive. If we look at the year before we opened Clyde's, the revenues, the gross revenues, were around $11,000. If we look at the first year of Clyde's opening, they were around $170,000.
And 3, Clyde's was also built so that we could begin to introduce new, quality, healthy food options.
Identifying that space and what we could do, and partnering with UCCS in remodeling that space was a great part of that revolution, in that it became really the first destination.
I knew it needed to become a pub with a different kind of beverage service. Definitely one that we're controlling, one that we're responsible with in terms of the service of alcoholic beverages.
It's also a place where we can program different events.
I am Tom Huber, professor in the Department of Geography and Environmental Studies.
One of the things that happened in Clyde's that I was very anxious to return to the campus is Café Scientifique.
Cafe started in Europe, and it was an informal discussion about science and philosophy, and people would have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, and it was a very low-key, social kind of arrangement, but very high-end topics were discussed.
We needed to bring a UCCS Café Scientifique experience back to campus, not off campus.
I was walking on the sidewalk outside of Main Hall, and I hear my name called, and it happened to be Susan Spurka. And she ran up to me and said, "I've got a proposition for you." And of course, you know, when Susan has a proposition for you, it's hard to say no.
Janelle was one of the speakers at Café Scientifique.
My name is Janelle Owens, and I am an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry.
And she talked about food sourcing.
So if I'm going to put food into my body 3, 4, 6 times a day, depending on how often I eat it, I'd like to have a little bit more knowledge and say into what I'm actually eating.
Well, when she contacted me just a few months after that to talk about food quality at UCCS, I was very excited. I think she was surprised by my response.
I said, we still need to change something, so what can I do?
We're definitely going to be doing something with the Overlook cafeteria.
And she said, oh, perfect, I've got a committee for you.
And that connection came from Clyde's.
My name is Carol Huber. I'm a senior instructor in Geography and Environmental Studies. Well, the Farmers Market is an outgrowth of the student garden from the SEAS group, Students for Environmental Awareness and Sustainability. The leaders in 2007, Patrick and Brianna, decided that they wanted to start a student garden. The garden started in 2009. We harvest the produce from the student garden each Monday morning and then sell it on the Upper Plaza at the UC Center.
Judith Rice Jones. I have been the senior grad student in geography, and I'm doing that because I'm a master gardener and a native plant master. The purpose of the garden is educational. We want to introduce people to the ecology of the region. We live in the Fountain Creek or the Arkansas River watershed, and so we think the more people understand about the climate, the soils, and the peculiarities of our region, the better stewards they'll be of our environment.
My name is Daphne Greenwood. Oh, I think it's really special that not only we can buy these here, but that we're involving our students in understanding how things grow and how they're affected by the weather and how they're affected by human activity. So, you know, it's one of these great things that's educational on a lot of different levels, and then we get a little immediate benefit out of it too.
We hand out a food safety sheet for tell people how the safe handling. We don't use any manure or anything in our garden. It's all organic and no manure. And we decided that we wouldn't wash the produce before we sold it, and we made sure that people who buy it know that, because a lot of the contamination actually comes from washing the produce in that process.
Gardening is a really good way of getting connected to the seasons and getting connected to the land. And the students love it.
You know, I think our ultimate goal is really to raise awareness about how important community is, how important local food is, and organic environmental issues.
The transformation of the Overlook to Cafe 65 encompasses many of the changes necessary for a food revolution.
The food that was at Overlook was so bad that I think anywhere that we went was up.
The transformation of the Overlook into Cafe 65 was quite a project.
You would go in there at certain times of the day and that entire room was absolutely dead. I mean, the decorations were dated, it was rather dark. It was really not a place where students or faculty or staff wanted to gather.
When it actually happened, we had 90 days to complete the actual physical renovation. We discarded some of the other food platforms.
We needed to revitalize those platforms. We have to have a grill. The change, though, was to add choice as well as quality. We added a salad bar, and eventually we want the majority of the fresh produce in that salad bar to be grown right here at UCCS. We wanted international food options to appeal to our changing demographic. And we wanted to really revitalize pizza because that's another staple. But we want whole wheat options, we want gluten-free options, we want vegetarian options, and have those options available for the clients.
We also wanted a centerpiece in the servery. The pizza oven became that. It's a gas-fired, stone-baked pizza oven, and everyone was really excited about having that.
We've taken the service platform from disposable to durable, reusable plates and utensils.
We ask people if they want it to go. If not, we put it on a regular plate and they use silverware.
And if you go to our tray return area, you'll now see 2 drops for compost, 1 drop for recycle, and 1 drop for landfill.
My name is Linda Kogan. I direct the sustainability program here on campus. So we set a goal with Sodexo that we wanted, as much as possible, all of the to-go items to be compostable. And that's still our goal, and we're nearly there.
There's a price component to it. These particular items are more expensive.
But it was challenging at times because we were afraid that it would cost more, that the availability might not be there.
I feel as we go along, more and more people using these products is going to bring that price down.
And so we've had to work through a number of issues, but they've been really on board with trying to get us those items.
My name is Eric Basco. I'm what we call a zero waste coordinator.
The Zero Waste program is designed to reduce the amount of refuse we are sending from the dining facilities to the landfill.
Whenever you're making a behavior change, you'll have people that they don't want to change. I've been called the green police before, at Cafe 65, or compost Nazi. As far as the green police goes, I wear that badge proudly. I'm happy to help people and let people know that there is something that they can do differently, but I don't really consider myself a police officer, consider myself a teacher.
The hydration station was intended to be very easy to fill reusable bottles. We have wonderful water in Colorado Springs.
My name is Carla Ruprecht. I've been involved in the campus food service committee both this year and last year. I'm also on a book study with the MPA program. We're focusing on bottled water issues.
There's quite a bit of literature on the fact that bottled water is worse for you than the water you get out of a tap in Colorado Springs.
Tap water has to be tested multiple times a day, and bottled water, it doesn't actually have to be tested.
The hydration station is available anytime the University Center is open, and it will count how many bottles we're saving from going into the landfill. I think I counted it will go up to 99,999,999 bottles. Now I have a picture of it with bottle 1.
The first couple weeks that Cafe 65 opened, just seeing people walk in and go, whoa, look at this. I mean, just seeing them amazed at the changes that we had done.
The dining area needed to be redone.
They wanted the space to feel much more vibrant, fresh, and open.
An essential design element in Cafe 65 is the living wall. The living wall is really to remind us of where it all comes from, so that when we're dining, we have this wonderful visual image of all this beautiful vegetation growing, and we're reminded of the fact that everything that we consume somehow comes from the soil.
The gathering spaces, which are, it's the kind of the social engineering part of it, where we have areas now that I feel are almost like destinations, where it's not just a place where you just go pick up something and grab a bite to eat and leave. You know, you can go and actually stay and meet people there.
In Cafe 65, we now have an ambassador. We have Edna.
My name is Edna Duncan, and I have been with the company for almost 11 years with Sodexo. I have the pleasure of talking to the customers and also keeping everything nice and clean and orderly.
She's the caretaker. I mean, she's a caretaker not in just the physical sense, but she takes care of our customers as well.
And the students over there loved her so much that they created a We Love Edna Facebook page.
I love them just as much as they love me, and it's a blessing. Just love it absolutely here. I really do.
You open new food service areas, there's always a period of transition where you fine-tune things.
I'm hoping that cafe will generate approximately $40,000 to $42,000 a year more in commissions to the university.
Overall, our sales in Cafe 65 are up considerably over last year.
And now it's this sense of excitement, like, what are they going to make at the Four Corners station today?
So it's still undergoing the revolution. It's open, but it's not complete.
Once you become habituated into looking at something like food differently and considering how it goes from garden to table to waste to recycle to reuse to garden again, once you actually habituate in yourself to look at that cycle, it has an impact in everything you do every day of your life.
There's something called peer teaching that I like very much, where students become the teachers and we stay out. We're the authority.
Education is something that is a responsibility of any person who really believes quality food is more important than quantity.
So I think it requires a playfulness, it requires fun. I always think about Jamie Oliver, how he swept through these schools and he did it in a really fun way.
The Office of Sustainability has had a huge role in this. I think the entire auxiliary team, the directors and the staff and the students working in auxiliary services have been very instrumental in the education.
I've noticed now that as I've been on more and more committees and I'm having more conversations with people I consider to be role models and mentors on campus, that I'm really starting to allay a lot of that information to the students and to bring that more into lecture.
But clearly, the education that comes from the chancellor and comes from the faculty has the biggest impact.
We have revolving doors, so with each new student body that comes in and matriculates, we're going to have the same conversation over and over again.
But again, education is just the beginning. We have to communicate every day and communicate effectively so that we can have multiple advocates and we can have more advocates for what is really healthy food.
In the university setting, we're in a unique position to incorporate scientific, behavioral, and nutritional research to help consumers and inform them on these choices.
We're in the analytical chemistry research lab. We looked at navel oranges, and these are both produced here in the United States. This was the conventionally produced orange, and this was the organic. What we're going to do is extract many of the components that are in the exterior of the fruit. And one of those things that we're going to be looking at is whether or not there's a pesticide difference between organic and conventionally produced fruits. This top panel is the orange that was grown organically. This bottom panel is the orange that was grown conventionally. And you'll notice that I have a peak here at 30.07 minutes. If I look up here at the same retention time in that organic orange, you'll notice that there's no peak. Now I'm going to right click and tell it to go search the NIST library. And it pops up with a compound, imazolone. When you look this up on the EPA website,
This particular compound is a fungicide used in the post-harvest processing of citrus. So we did find evidence of a fungicide on a conventionally produced orange, and we didn't see that same compound in an organically produced orange.
So how have we fed all these people in, and how have we been able to manage the additional enrollments, the additional faculty staff on campus, and the additional guests? It's very connected with our financial management of the food service as well. If you look at Cafe 65, we took the exact same space, we changed it, we added seats in doing that, and we changed the way that the workflow occurs both in the kitchens and amongst the client base going through the servery, so that we can actually serve more people in the same amount of space. At the same time that we did this, we more effectively managed the cost.
What our food service manager, which we all love very dearly, struggles every single day trying to get Colorado products to campus. He's doing a great job within a very rigid system.
Well, Sodexo has a corporate sustainability plan, mission, and that is to, wherever we can, to use as much local products as we possibly can to reduce the carbon footprint and work with our clients to reduce that carbon footprint.
Our food service sales are showing us that we are not having any resistance to the things that we are changing and what we are doing. And some of that is we're offering options.
I'm Kelly Jennings, and I'm the Greenhouse and Garden Manager here at UCCS. The purpose of the greenhouse will be to grow food for campus.
The greenhouse is a tool in the food revolution. It's a tool that will help us to provide food to our kitchens year-round.
We are really, really excited about the greenhouse here on campus.
It's definitely going to grow over time. We know that the initial yield will go into Cafe 65 into the salad bar.
We'll grow a lot of vegetables. We'll grow greens for salad bars. We can grow the summertime vegetables that you think of.
It's important that there are inspections, and it's important that we're growing food in a manner that keeps it safe.
Sodexo has guidelines for gardening and for food safety, beginning with the requirement that we grow organically. So we will not be using any pesticides or herbicides or any harmful chemicals.
The sales will pay the salaries, and then a portion of the food service commissions will go back to support the greenhouse as well.
I can see that we could conceivably get produce to the kitchen within hours after harvest.
I get calls from other accounts across the country. I heard that you guys are going to have a greenhouse now. I said, yeah.
I already have seeds in soil. My hope is that by next fall we could begin to be delivering a significant amount of product to the kitchen.
It will be one of the crowning touches of the food revolution that we're having here on campus.
Right now, we know that there are two more steps in how we change the way we look at and enjoy food on campus. One is that the student dining hall, the lodge, the servery is going to get a facelift. At the same time as that, we are working on a new coffee shop. There's more to come. I just am not going to be able to tell you what the next one is yet because I haven't figured out how to pay for it.
So we're hopeful that this food revolution will become a model for other institutions that are unique like us. Public institutions working with a larger corporate partner.
I think food and food revolution it's never complete.
I don't think that there can be an end.
It's probably just starting.
Like many revolutions, it brings about significant change.
Opinions drive revolutions, and as long as people have opinions, there will always be change.
And that change isn't just food. We're talking about change in social space. We're talking about change in how students and others feel about the campus.
There'll always be different ways of analyzing where our food came from and how well it was grown. Was it grown on a large farm, with
with large agriculture? Was it something that's a little smaller with permaculture? I mean, there's a lot of different things that we're learning about food.
It's then over when we have fish back in the oceans, restocked. It's then over when we have enough soil to grow food for the world, which currently we don't.
I honestly see that the future of food is, if we don't manage it right, could be pretty limiting.
Eating together, cooking together, harvesting a meal, together, from seed to plate. It's long forgotten, but it's so valuable. The friendships that can occur through that, from professional to professional, from student to student, cross-generational, it's just phenomenal.
I also see the future of food is going back to the roots and looking at food the way our parents and grandparents looked at food.
But it also has a lot of beauty about it. It brings something back that we've long forgotten, and simple values.
You can't plant a tree today and expect to have an apple tomorrow, but the best day to plant that tree is probably today.